And today I am back with another one of these story reading things. So this one is called My Girlfriends Keep Getting Murdered. And this one actually looks really interesting to me, so we're gonna try it. Ava was my first love, and like many first loves, we were inseparable. Everything in my life revolved around her. She was my obsession. Friends would tell me our relationship was unhealthy, that we were too dependent on each other, but I didn't care. We spent every waking moment together, and eventually my friendships fell to the wayside. It bothered me not. As long as I had Ava, nothing else mattered. Our love was pure bliss. Unfortunately, as is so often the case in life, happiness is fleeting. Ava was murdered 10 long years ago, and it almost broke me. One fateful Thursday, I returned home from work to find our front door ajar. Screaming for Ava, I flew into the bedroom, only to discover a mattress soaked in blood, with additional blood splatter practically painting the walls red. The room showed clear signs of a struggle. Ava was a fighter until the end. Her body was never recovered, but the forensic lab confirmed the blood at the scene belonged to Ava. According to their experts, it was highly unlikely she had survived the attack. The faintest glimmer of hope remained, and I firmly grasped on to it. We combed the surrounding areas for weeks, and when others gave up, I continued on alone. It took me over a year to accept that Ava wasn't coming back, if I ever really did. Tina was my second love, a raven-haired beauty who brought me back from the pits of despair. Her infectious smile and caring nature captivated me, and soon after meeting at a conference, we were dating. I was able to tell Tina anything, and she accepted me as I was, warts and all. When I told her how, in my grief-stricken state, I had slept with Ava's best friend only days after the incident, she held me close and whispered, "The past is the past." I wept in her arms for hours. Tina was murdered on a cold Sunday morning in October. I returned from a weekend trip to find her sprawled awkwardly on my kitchen floor. A pool of coagulated blood shimmered in the sun's rays. Her throat had been sliced from ear to ear, face frozen in a look of absolute terror. That image will forever haunt me. Suspicion immediately fell upon me. 2 girlfriends murdered in the span of a couple years seemed like more than a stroke of bad luck. Within days, the cops had zeroed in, and I was placed firmly in their crosshairs. This despite my firm proclamations of innocence. Thanks to overwhelming evidence and an airtight alibi, I was halfway across the country during the presumed time of death. I was cleared as a suspect. Regardless, the police made it clear that I was on their radar. I'm sure several were convinced a budding serial killer had gotten off scot-free. Once again, I fell into a deep depression, a dark hole I was sure I would never crawl out of. I quit my job and retreated from the world into the recesses of my own mind. Ariana was my third love. We met by happenstance, during a solitary midnight walk. One of the few pleasures left in my life at the time. She was a tortured soul who had suffered just as I had. We bonded in our grief. Within 3 months, we were sharing an apartment. Life once again felt worth living. As much as I was able, I never left Ariana's side. If a text went unanswered for more than 5 minutes, I would begin to panic and black out. Doctors said it was a symptom of PTSD. Bless her heart, Ariana never saw this behavior as overbearing or controlling. She understood completely. Ever the positive influence, Ariana encouraged me to get back to work, which I did so reluctantly. I searched for positions that allowed me to work from home, and I was rather successful in doing so. Unfortunately, on one particular occasion, a major client requested I meet him on site. The offer was too much money to pass up. I begged Ariana to stay with friends, but she refused. Thankfully, her sister Karen agreed to spend the weekend at our apartment, mostly due to my extreme insistence. On my way to the airport, I received a text from Ariana. I had left my wallet on the dining room table. This was surprising as I was so thorough when packing, triple-checking my bag before leaving. Apologizing profusely, I asked the Uber driver to turn around. He was nice enough about it. 30 minutes later, we arrived back at the apartment. The driver kept his car idling as I rushed in. Bursting through the front door, I immediately slipped in a puddle of blood. Organs and body parts were splayed all around me, coating the floor like varnish. Ariana and Karen's decapitated heads peered down from the ceiling, held up by nails and duct tape. The Uber driver heard my blood-curdling scream, which led him to the horrific scene. For 15 hours, the police fiercely interrogated me, their frustration steadily rising. one of the officers almost struck me. Begrudgingly, the police released me without charges. Again, it did little to numb the pain. Although exonerated in the eyes of the law, the local media had already crucified me. I was no longer welcome in my sleepy hamlet. Okay, that's all I'm gonna do for this video. That was about half of the story, so the other half of the story will be up soon. That's all I have for this video. Goodbye, guys!